Welcome to the Modern Artrepreneur, a podcast documenting my circuitous approach to blending art and entrepreneurship. This is episode 8, where I'll be going into the crowdsourcing campaign for Dinner's Ready, my educational cooking card game. On October 1st, we launched the Dinner's Ready Kickstarter campaign, and in the first 24 hours, we reached nearly a third of our goal, $1,600. The unfortunate part was that that's where we plateaued, which made it clear we weren't going to be one of the through-the-roof Kickstarter projects. Instead, we were going to have to buckle down and really grind this thing out in order to make it happen. It's in doing this grind that I made errors and some good moves, and I'm going to attempt to share those with you during this podcast. The first big push for our crowdsourcing campaign came through our Dinner's Ready Facebook page. Any crowdsourcing campaign should absolutely have a Facebook page, and I would recommend really leveraging it as much as you possibly can. So we launched that page a month early, September 1st, and we were gathering as much momentum as we possibly could. We got into the Facebook advertising, and so we promoted our page, we boosted posts, and we ended up driving up our follower numbers. And before we had gone into the crowdsourcing campaign itself, this was a good way to gauge our level of interest in our product. Facebook does say that for every $100, you're going to be put in front of 10,000 people. So we did have a lot of numbers up in terms of eyes on the page. And we did end up reaching about 30,000 people over the course of 7 days, which was about the highest that we reached. In the end, we got about 1,300 plus followers, and they were a community that was very active. They were liking a lot of the things that we were doing. Our close friends in the community were sharing the project. That's where we also gained some leverage with having our celebrity chefs participate in that area. They commented, they shared things that our page was posting. We were able to take those posts and put them on our own pages. And in the end, we really used that as a middle conduit between us and potential consumers when we had not yet run the Kickstarter campaign. So we were building momentum up to the day that we launched on October 1st by riling our Facebook page. Another venue in which we found to gain some traction was on our social media accounts, particularly Twitter. We had some really interesting ideas about how to run a successful crowdsourcing campaign through the use of Twitter. Not only did we want to be available for people to tweet to us and for us to be able to provide updates, but we also wanted to try something new. We had a really good idea about a guerrilla marketing campaign involving our Twitter account. So we reached out to a friend of mine, a coder in Berlin, and he made us a Twitter bot on our Twitter handle. So if people were to tweet to the Dinner's Ready Twitter account, which was @dinnercardgame, asking, "What should I have for dinner?" our Twitter bot would respond with one of the 25, 30 recipes that we featured in the game. So we would respond with something like lemon chicken with rice. And if the person on the other end receiving the tweet said, "That sounds delicious," or something along those lines, some kind of response to us providing a suggestion, we would then provide them with 3 of the ingredients of that recipe and then we were directing them to the Kickstarter page to see what our game was about. And this was an idea that we thought was going to be really, really interesting. It was going to be innovative. It was going to bring the game to the consumers, to the backers, prior to really knowing anything about the game, but we'd really be filling a void of what should I have for dinner? Not only are we providing insight and guidance to preparing healthy meals in conjunction with the game, we were also trying to do it just in general, just in the Twitterverse. Ask us what you should have for dinner, and we will tweet back a healthy recipe. All of the pieces felt like they would work, like this would be something successful, and we would have tons of tweets and tons of retweets and people, linking to our Twitter bot. But truth be told, it never really caught on. It didn't get the traction that we were hoping. Perhaps it wasn't attractive enough. Perhaps we couldn't inspire the right amount of people to tweet to the account, or the right kinds of people to tweet to the account. Maybe it was the bot itself was not fully effective. There are a variety of ways in which that Twitter bot perhaps could have been more successful. But in the way that we were running the campaign and the way that we were providing that venue for that bot to go, it didn't really come to any fruition whatsoever. So even though we paid to have this bot created, it really didn't end up providing any value to our campaign in the long run. In the rest of our social media clicks, like Instagram, we were hunting for clicks. We wanted our web to spread as much as we possibly could. So, we were tweeting to high-profile accounts, challenging people to play Dinner's Ready. I remember I pulled up a specific column of tweets that were mentioning the words Dinner's Ready, and we went through liking every single person's entry that was food related with regards to Dinner's Ready. I can't tell you how many accounts I've found that are not safe for work that were tweeting about Dinner's Ready. So we didn't obviously endorse any of those tweets, but we were showing attention to people who were using the phrase Dinner's Ready because it does signify something. Most of the people who responded or posted out in the Twitterverse about Dinner's Ready was their reaction to hearing the words Dinner's Ready. And we want players, people, consumers, the backers of the game, whomever will eventually be touched by this game, we want them to have that same reaction to hearing Dinner's Ready when they hear, "Let's play Dinner's Ready." So we tried to really draw attention to that and focus on that in the social media realms, but again, it didn't really amount to very much turnover. So in the end, we really had to rely on emails. And emails are a difficult thing, one, to write, but two, in order to really remain organized. So the night before that we launched the Kickstarter, October 1st, I sent an email to my closest friends and family letting them know about the early bird specials and that I wanted them to get a copy of it. I ended up emailing 132 people, which doesn't feel that intimate when you say it out loud, but these are all people that I felt would perhaps give me a look, or that, we'd been friends for a long time, and so if I came up with anything, they wanted to know about it, or it's friends, or it's family, or it's people that I hadn't talked to in a while, but I wanted to reach out to. So a lot of it was individual bulk emails. I sent one to my friends and family. I sent one to my fraternity listserv. I sent one to a second family listserv I have back east. But it was really compartmentalizing the goals of the emails in order to get the most traction. And I was somewhat saddened by the amount of people who seemed to immediately respond. I believed that I was going to sell out of the early bird specials by the end of the weekend. We were offering a small amount of each of the levels at a discounted price, and I wanted my friends to get those. But it turns out that they didn't. Maybe I write too long of an email. Maybe it was too much of an ask. Maybe my tone was not one of sharing, but one of begging. I don't know. But you nevertheless have to swallow your pride and keep going. Being shameful is not the same as being confident when it is something that you truly believe in. So you've got to swallow your pride and keep going, because I believed that, maybe they didn't get the first email. So about a week into it, I followed up with some text messages, just making sure that people got my email and that they heard what I was doing, and that, if they wanted to take a look at it, they should. And then I waited a little bit longer, and then I sent some more personal emails one-on-one to people, just really asking them personally to go check it out. And those ended up being a little bit more successful. And it ended up really telling me that there was a certain level of poise in which you have to address crowdsourcing when it pushes over to friend sourcing. When you're asking your friends for money, there is definitely a certain level of delicacy in which you need to address that, because the last thing you want to be viewed as is somebody who is just begging for money and they are not serving any other purpose. So I really ended up taking that to heart, and I think that I slowed up on my fundraising because of it. I was worried that I was going to muddy my waters by continuing to prompt my friends and acquaintances and semi-connected relationships to potentially to a point of breaking by asking them for more money over and over and over again. So I ended up really kind of toning back on the emails and focusing on the people that I knew would come through for me and be really interested in the game that we were developing. Lastly, Kickstarter is very adamant about posting updates. They want you to be as open and transparent with your backers as you can. So as soon as it's ready, they want you to post an update. A few days into it, you should post an update. If you made 50% of your goal, you should post an update. If you are gonna make your goal, post an update. If you've got 2 days left, post an update. They want you to let everybody know the progress of what's going on. And so we did. We posted about 7 Kickstarter updates from the beginning through the end of the campaign, letting people know what we were doing, answering questions, talking about the evolution of the cards, talking about our Twitter bot, talking about some of the changes that we were making to the game, some of the additions that we were adding to the game. These get emailed automatically to the people that are backing the game, but it also gets posted directly to the Kickstarter page. So we ended up tweeting and sharing direct links to these updates so that people would get a view on the inner workings of what we were doing on our side, and to let them know that we weren't just sitting there asking for money. We were hustling, we were changing, we were making the game better every single day. And that does definitely go somewhere for you. people want to know that you are real. So putting faces and work and progress out into the world right next to what you're trying to build is a good way for people to shed their discomfort in giving money to somebody for something and giving it a really personable feeling. So the Kickstarter updates may not have done a lot for us in terms of gathering new backers, but it did make the backers that we have be more confident in the product that we were bringing to market, and they made it more confident to have our backers share with other people. We also did a few other things that ended up ultimately being ineffective, or perhaps not as effective as it could have been. I talked about the Twitter bot as one of those, but we also wanted to approach organizations that were promoting healthy, nutritious childhood diets. So I wrote a press release, and I ended up sending the press release to various organizations through their websites, through their Twitter accounts, through really any attempt that I could to contact them. Because, again, Kickstarter wouldn't let us advertise this, but nevertheless, we are taking a percentage, 5%, and we are donating Dinner's Ready decks to charity. So we wanted other kids, charities, people who really should have this game to get an opportunity to own the game and to be part of its conception. But we were hoping that these organizations would pass on our press release to help their communities become aware of our Kickstarter. But ultimately, I never really saw any of these pan out. We were never reached out to by any of the organizations that we reached out to. And the organizations that we wanted to promote on our side never showed interest in having our support. So as much time as we spent reaching out to these organizations, ultimately that time may have been spent better elsewhere. But we did have these press releases, and so I reached out to a couple of different newspaper publications in Portland, in Ojai, in San Francisco, telling them about what we were doing. But nobody ran press on the campaigns, not as far as I could tell. And it's actually really kind of difficult to find the right person at a publication to get a press release for a product that is coming to market on Kickstarter, but it also has public interest. There's a whole big web in there, and they make it very somewhat difficult for somebody to send this to the newspaper saying, hey, this is a press release of a product that we're doing, and please share it. Because to many that may seem like advertising, to others that seems like a public service announcement. It was something that we really wanted to get more traction out of, and perhaps our approach to getting these press releases out into the world was not as effective, flushed out as it could be. So if I was to be running another Kickstarter campaign, I would really look into how to get press releases out into the world, and maybe even consider some of those services that reach out to you on your Kickstarter page about marketing out your PR. Because I see the value in it a little bit. $100 would get you into 1,000 newspapers, and that is pretty much more effective use of time than I could do to get a newspaper, to get 1,000 newspapers my press release. So I would, again, if I was doing a Kickstarter again, I would try to see better ways to leverage organizations and leverage my press releases. So that was the struggle, and we worked really hard to get more eyes on the project, and really hope to push us over the top. In the second and third weeks of the campaign, it got slow. The gears were turning. We were bringing in small amounts of money, maybe $100, maybe $150 each day as we were moving closer and closer towards the end of the campaign. So with the last 10 days remaining, we really turned up the heat. We posted a new image every day sharing the countdown. 10 days left in the Kickstarter campaign, and we shared a picture of one of our ingredients and our ingredient cards and a fun little fact quip about that ingredient and how to get people on board. And we continued that push, updating the Kickstarter page, sharing to our Instagrams, promoting on Twitter, and sharing the pages on our own personal Facebook pages. We were really shameless about it, because you have to be. And the biggest push came in the last 3 days, and when we really drew people's attention to the fact that the clock was ticking, many people then clicked into gear. Because most people will put something off until they absolutely have to do it. And by us saying, hey, you got 3 days left and then this thing is gone, people finally put their money where their mouth is, which was great. And with 38 hours left, we reached our goal of $4,000, which was great. It took so much of the stress off of us. We knew we could do it. We did it. Now we were going to get the money that we raised, and any more money that we could get would be icing on the cake, help us reach our minimum orders for decks, and help us promote more eyes. The last few days were big for us, and by October 23rd at midnight, we were 117% funded, with a total of $4,699. So we did it. We got more money than we asked for, and it was by many accounts a successful Kickstarter campaign. So I took the weekend off to celebrate my 30th birthday. Britt and I flew down to San Francisco for a wedding and then a birthday party in the city. And Eric spent some time wandering around. I think he played some golf, took his motorcycle for a drive. And we returned back to work on Monday, getting straight into the development part.
So I've sent an email to a new email to the people in China today, and I'm waiting for a response. But they basically said that they can do the revision that I'm asking for, which will make it fit the box. So I'm not too nervous about that. And then the U.S. people that I've been talking to, they said that they can do it as well. And it's called matchbook style, the style of box that we want. So I think they're gonna be able to get us a mock-up probably pretty soon, but she's trying to finalize just details with me as far as like what the card stock is and like different specifications. So we're trying to figure that out. Tomorrow I'm going into the office and hopefully I'll be able to show her what I'm talking about. So I'm still working on the recipe cards, trying to finalize the design there, but I have a really good template that I'm using, so I'm excited about that. And then hopefully I'll have all the pictures that I've taken, uploaded, and edited. They're all uploaded and edited currently, but I'm just slowly dropping them in and I'm having to adjust some of the recipe cards. So that I'm probably like halfway done with that. So I feel good about the recipe cards. And then the ingredient cards are done. I think, I don't think there's much change that needs to happen to the reference card that we have. But we do need to figure out how we're going to do the instructions.
Developing the cards, printing the boxes, getting them packed and shipped from China, then repacking those into shipping boxes so they could be shipped out to our 87 backers around the country. We had a lot of moving pieces, and we were hoping for a little bit of luck. And I think we found that luck on a Craigslist ad in San Francisco for 335 shipping boxes.
They're so cool, dude. They're not like really thick. They're on the thinner side of cardboard, but they're really structural, and they have like this fold-out lid that basically just tucks in, and then you tape it all together. But dude, I'm so happy we found these. Like, getting 300 plus boxes for free off Craigslist is such like a great little find. Yeah, it's kind of upsetting that we don't have all the information yet to actually complete Dinner's Ready and the expansion pack. So, I don't know, it's obviously going to take a little bit longer. I think we can get a test deck printed, but I don't know if we should do it until the full expansion set is done. So, I don't know. I think we could get it done if we could get one printed if we get the drink card done, if we get, you know, the rest of the recipes in, and I think if we got if we got most of the recipes cooked and the instructions nailed down, I think I would be okay getting another one. But at this point, it's just going to be a waste of money if we buy another one, and it's going to be like $100 to do that. So,
next time on The Modern Entrepreneur.
I noticed you highlighted Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's ones as important dates. But it doesn't, it looks, it looks similar to the schedule we had last time. It looks straightforward. I read it and then I waited for us to speak to talk about it. But it looks doable. I think the harder ones will be around the holidays just because it'll be hard to get people to commit to dates because you know how people are. So I feel like the more we can get done in early November, the better.